Alright, today we are doing a thermostat on a 2013 Chrysler Town Country, and I'll try to show you step by step on how to do this. I've already taken apart some stuff, but I've stuck it back in there just to show for demonstration. So first off, you probably want to drain out some of your coolant, and there's a drain valve. It's hard to see. See if I can get it up in here. I don't know if you all can see it or not. It's a little valve in there. You just turn it counterclockwise and it'll start draining your coolant. Be sure you pull your radiator cap off so it doesn't create a vacuum in there. It'll at least drain. And then secondly, you pull the top cover off that goes right here. It's pretty easy. Pull this little hose, pull this vent hose right here. See what goes on right there. Pull that sucker off. Be careful because this boot can tear. Look down here by the throttle body. There's a connector right here. You have to unplug so we can get it in the shadows here. So you squeeze that down right there and that'll come undone. And then if you look right here, there's a little push pin. You have to be able to get some pliers or a little screwdriver or something, pry it up and it pops off. And then the throttle body itself, there is no clamp. It just pushes over, it just pushes onto the throttle body. So it's just a tight fit. Then you come over here. There's a 13mm nut. See, right there on the air cleaner. Take that off. Lift your power steering reservoir off of there. Move it out of the way, and then you'll have all your normal air cleaner clips to hold the housing down. There's one right there too. And then if you just look in the back, there's no clips, but it just sits in a little, see, those little teeth right there. It just sits in those holes. And you can just pull it out of here. You'd have to finagle it a little bit. See? There we go. Should look like that when it comes out. Come over here, take your air filter, take it out, and then your air cleaner housing. There's no snaps, or I'm sorry, there's no bolts or anything that hold it down. It's held in. If you see right here, it's got this little, just rests on that pin, lift up, and you might have to just kind of wiggle it around a little bit, but then it'll come right out. Just like so. Set that off to the side. And then you get down here, there's your thermostat. I've already removed the clamp off of it, moved it back, and then the thermostat will have one bolt in here. And there's another one. Let's see if we can get down to it. You can see it's hiding right there. Right there on the bottom. You take those two out and the thermostat will come right out. Okay, so here is the old thermostat. As you can see, the thermostat comes out with the housing. It's all one piece. Inspected this one. It doesn't appear to be stuck open, but that doesn't mean that once it gets warmed up, it just stays open. And then after it cools off, then it probably shuts slowly. That's the problem they're having, is engine doesn't warm up and it's setting a code for PO 128. So got that one out. And you can see here's the new one. I haven't tightened it down yet. So yeah, I just got it stuck in there, and then I'll tighten her down in a second. I'll show you. It's incredibly simple. Try to find it. There we go. Anyway, you get the gist of it. I'll go ahead and finish tightening that down, and we'll be right back. Something else I'd like to add to this is after you pull that thermostat housing off, you'll notice that everything kind of gets a little drenched in coolant, just the stuff that's kind of the residual that's left over in the housing, but it gets all over the belts and pulleys and everything. So what you can do before you get too far, just get yourself just a jug of water, just pour that sucker down in there, and that'll help rinse off any residual. And I forgot to also mention, whenever you do this job, disconnect your battery, the negative side, for safety. So okay, so whenever you go to put your air cleaner housing back in, just take note that there's several of these little mounting spots. You've got one here, you've got one here, here, and here. And then they go, hold on, let me get it turned around. When it sits down in there like so, just be sure you get them lined up to right here. Get that out of the way. One right here, and then the other one is the stud right there. And then the last one just goes right here on the washer fluid jug. See if I can't do this one-handed. See? Pretty easy. Let's see, it's hard to see down inside of there. Usually once you get just one or two lined up, the rest will go. There. And there it is. It's in. So whenever you're putting the upper half of the air cleaner housing on, something you got to keep in mind is that there's no clamp on this on the intake hose. It just slips on there. So your only two mounting points is this push pin right here. You get it down inside there and just push the pin down. But then, if I can't get it down in here, on the air cleaner on the back side, there it is. Yep, see it right there? See if we can turn my light on. Nope. It's there we go. See that little pin with the ball on it? It just, your air cleaner has to snap over that too. So be sure you get that lined up, or else your intake tube could potentially pop off, and you could suck in water and dirt, and that'd be bad news. All right, and now it's time to add coolant to it. I don't know if anyone, you may not have this fancy funnel like I do, but that doesn't matter. You can still fill the radiator just the same. But if you have problems bleeding it, there is, let's see if I can't get a good shot on it. Where is it at? There it is. There's a little bleed screw right down here. You know what, let me get my flashlight on it. There we go. See that little bleed screw right there? You want to just loosen that thing off a little bit, and you might be able to hear. Oh, you know what? Let me pull the plug out of that. Oh, see, it's already going. It don't take a whole lot. Just turn it maybe about a turn or two. See, you hear the air coming out. Oh, there it is. Already seen coolant. And don't tighten it too much. Just snug it down, and that's all it takes. And you may have to do that a few times to get the air worked out of it, but it'll eventually go. So All right. Something else to mention whenever you, after you finish replacing the thermostat and it's time to bleed the cooling system, get in the vehicle and turn the vehicle heat, your interior heat, turn it to max. And if it has the dual climate control, make sure that both sides are on max hot. Turn the fan speed all the way up. And then whenever you have the engine running, you might also have to, you have to be very careful, but take a screwdriver and slowly open up the little bleed valve on top of the thermostat housing. And you might have to do it a couple of times to work all the air out of the system. But be very careful. Do not drop your screwdriver if you do that while it's running, because chances are you'll drop it and it'll get hung up in the belt and the pulley system, which can cause more damage. So you've got to be very careful doing that, and don't get your fingers caught in anything, because that'd be pretty bad. And it's going to take a while, for the engine to warm up to get to operating temperature before it'll open up the thermostat and bleed more air out of the system. And after that, just let it, after you think you have all the air bled out of it, let it run for probably 10-15 minutes, and watch your temperature gauge, check for leaks, everything like that. Don't forget to top off your the coolant reservoir if you have to. Try not to overfill it. And after that, you should be good. And if you have a scan tool, you might have to go back in and erase the old code that was in there. The one that my customer had, the code number was a PO128, and I think it stood for engine temperature not up to operating conditions or something like that. And also they had no heat in the vehicle. So, but after I finished, the heat worked great. Temperature was up to where it needed to be, and everything looked good. So if you got any questions, ask me in the comments.